I was at a meeting approximately a year ago with Ngā Aho, our Māori group of designers, and I was asking about the deeper meaning of Tuia Pito Ora, and our good friend Titch explained to me the very deep understanding that he has of Tuia Pito Ora, and he has offered to come and explain that to us now. So I'd like to welcome Titch up to the stage.
Ka kariki pohoi te reko te tupu waihui ko nei. Ko te kauru waihui ko nei. E ai nei hoki au ko tu umu te tui ki hai tai ki ngā pū, ki ngā wānanga, ki ngā tauira. Patua kuru, patua whao. Patua te toki a te haru. Piki ake nei au I te wharu huka huka nui a tangaro, tangaro. I whatia nei e nuku taimaroro. E nuku taimaroro whēra hoki rako au. Ko hine tua huanga kimi ana, e haoni te rako a te rata. Rata I mate ki piku piku I whiti. Mate, maranga mai. Ko hiki nuku te tātauranga. Whanno, whanno, haramai te tōki. Haumi e, hui e, taiki e. That's a karakia that is acknowledged as being a prayer that Tāne Mahuta first composed. Goes back a wee way. It's a karakia that was taught to me by my friend and mentor Matohari Williams, who had a key part to play in composing the name Tuia Pito Ora, which is the name that the NZILA has adopted as its te reo Māori name for this prestigious institute. So as Brad said, last year we had a hui tau. Every year we have a meeting between Ngā Aho and the NZILA as part of a lasting relationship between our two bodies. And at that meeting we discussed what does Tuia Pito Ora mean. So we had that kōrero, and the idea was, well, maybe more people need to know about that. So here I am. It's important to start with a sort of disclaimer to say that the meaning in Māori terms of a word like, or a name like Tuia Pito Ora is open to various interpretations. So this is but one. But it is one that I've taken the trouble to check out with Matohari, and I've run past my other colleagues in Te Taunuku who think it's good enough, it's near enough. So for today I'll explain to you what my understanding is. But firstly I have to acknowledge the whare tū nei, tēnā koe, tēnā koe. I remember as a student being here and coming to concerts in this theatre, and it's wonderful to see that it's been resurrected and it's alive and well again. Nō reire, te whare e tū. Te whenua e takoto nei waho, the land that lies outside. Takoto, takoto, takoto. Lie there, be there for us, to help sustain us all. He ngā mate, those who have passed on, haere, haere, haere. Haere ko mātua tipuna karangaranga maha. Whatu ki rātou te iwinui, whatu ki te marae ara whānui, nāna hoki hanga mea katoa. Haere ki tawhiti nui, tawhiti ro, tawhiti pāmama to honu I wairu. So of course I'm paying my respects to those who are no longer with us, but whose efforts we benefit from daily. And rangatira, Brad, tēnā koe, tēnā koe runga tu paipai, tēnā koe the president of the Tuia Pito Ora. Kia koutou katoa, ka nui te mihi, ka nui te mihi, ka nui te mihi, kia koutou. Firstly, a bit about the whakapapa, or the background to the name Tuia Pito Ora. I'm not sure exactly when it first came up, the idea of a te reo Māori name for the NZILA, but I do know it ended up in Neil Challenger's inbox, as he was at the time a member of the executive of NZILA and also an active member of Te Taunuku and Ngā Aho. And he was asked to see what he could arrange. And so he went first to his mentors down here in Otautahi and said, we've been given a task to try and find a name. And they scratched their heads and they thought deeply about what might work and put up a number of different names, none of which quite hit the bill, quite hit the mark. And so Neil came back and said, well, we have covered off one thing, that we don't really want just a literal translation of New Zealand Institute of Landscape Architects, which might be something like Te Ropu ngā Kaihohoa o Te Whenua o Aotearoa, the group of designers of the landscape in New Zealand. Didn't seem to work. Needed to be something deeper, something that embraced the essence of what it is to be a landscape architect and the essence of what we try to do as a profession. So he came back to us and we thought, well, who better to go to than, could you bring up a slide please, of our kaumātua of Ngā Aho, Harry Williams. And some of you have been around for quite a while in the Tuia Pito Ora may remember a hui that was held at Te College in 1987. Goes back, I know some of you weren't even born then, but it goes back to a time when we first looked into matters of kaupapa Māori and te ao Māori in relation to landscape and trying to find some common ground and to explore that whole area. And Hare was one of our keynote speakers, and I remember he spoke about te rongo kako or te matau rongo kako, Tamata Peak in Hawke's Bay, and he talked about how it embodied stories, the narratives of the people who belong to the Heretaunga area, among other things, and it was wonderful to have him at that hui. So we went, Diane Menzies and I went to his place out at Papakura and sat down with him and said, Matua, we need a name for our institute that we are members of. And he said, come on in, let's have a cup of tea. Had a cup of tea, and then he said, well, I need you to tell me a bit more about this. He said, why? Why do you want a name? And who are landscape architects? Tell me, who are landscape architects? And what do landscape architects do? And what are their commitments to the whenua and to the world we live in? And so we had quite a session. I won't go into it all because it was quite a... we went at least twice more to discuss with Matua. And in so doing, he was taking notes. And I think if I bring this up, this is a sheet of paper that I managed to get at the end of our korero. And that sort of encapsulates the workings and the thinking that went on, or part of it at least, that led to the name that we have. And so those words, 3 simple words, with Tuia Pito Ora. Can I have a go at saying that? Tuia Pito Ora. The tuia is a soft T. It's not tuia, it's tuia. It's sort of almost a D, somewhere between a D and a T. Tuia, tuia. Pito, not pito, pito. Ora. The R is a sort of a soft R as well. Tuia Pito Ora. Beautiful. And although it's always a bit of a mistake to kind of break down a name like that into, I do want to do that. I want to break it down firstly into those three words and then sort of reconstitute it. Tuia. Tuia means, and actually Brad used this in his beginning tauparapara. He said tuia irunga. Tuia means tuia means bind or stitch or thread. So in that sense, it means to connect, to provide some continuity. It's got elements of strength because if you bind, you increase strength. And so tuia is about a connection, and it's about creating strength. And then pito. Pito is the umbilical cord. We all need it. We all are here because of it, of pito. Pito connects the placenta to the fetus. So it's that most essential of conduits that allows the nurturing of life and of growth. So there's elements of nurturing, of growth, of dependence and vulnerability. And ora, of course, we all use in our greeting of kia ora, meaning ora means alive, well. So kia ora means be well. And ora is the root of the word oranga. And oranga itself it means kind of a health and well-being. And so oranga has then adjectives that go with it. Oranga ake, meaning destiny. Oranga hinengaro, meaning emotional health. Oranga ngako, meaning mental well-being. Oranga tinana, meaning physical well-being. I oranga wairua, meaning spiritual well-being. So pito ora together means a conduit to life, a conduit to being well, an ethic of caring, of nurturing, of the world we live in. So it can be extended into the idea of community building, of making the place a better place. And of course we all are engaged in it in our work that we do. So taken as a whole, reconstituting it back, Tuia Pito Ora means striking a balance in a way that honours the past, redefines the present, and protects the future. So that's what Matuhare offered to us. And then, having done that, Lynn Tafa was engaged to turn that into a waiata, and that's what we sang earlier today. She added in bits of the essence of the meanings of being a landscape architect that members of this institute provided. And she encapsulated those into that wonderful whakatauki, whakangaro he tangata, toitu te whenua. People come and go, but land endures forever. And as well as that, she embraced Ranginui, the Sky Father, Papa Tuanuku, the Earth Mother, and their children, Tāne, Mahuta, Tāwhiri, and so. So those are the elements that when we sing our waiata, that's what we're singing about. So when we went through that process, we then went back to the Institute and said, here's the name that we've come up with. And we sort of thought that would become the name for the Institute of Landscape Architects. We thought that because it embraced the essence of being landscape architects, that it would kind of supersede the other name, which is sort of more defines what our qualifications are and what we do. But this embraced more than that, a lot more than that, a higher level, deeper, or higher and deeper level of understanding. But we were told, well, no, that isn't what we really had in mind. We don't think that the membership is ready for that. That's a bit too big a step to take at this stage, but we do want to incorporate it into our name. So it became the NZILA Tuia Pito Ora. So somewhat reluctantly we accepted that. But it is interesting, just as a sort of an aside, the Institute of Architects has recently gone through that same process, same person, and a process where they now have a name for the NZIA, which is Te Kahui Whaihanga, which similarly embraces kind of more of the essence of what it is to be architects. They put their Te Kahui Whaihanga at the start. And that's my challenge, I think. The thought was that, well, there will be times when Tuia Pito Ora is more appropriate to use that in preference to NZILA, or New Zealand Institute of Landscape Architects. So there will be times, and maybe over time it'll sort of evolve into that. I guess my wero and my suggestion is, let's sort of move that forward a little quicker. Let's speed that transition from NZILA Tuia Pito Ora to Tuia Pito Ora NZILA. That's, and I acknowledge that people are at different places along that sort of continuum, but that would be my hope that might happen. When I was writing this presentation, I sent it around to my colleagues in Te Taunuku, and as I said, people said, yes, that's fine. But one that did come in that I just want to add as a kind of a postscript from Natalie Couch, one of the members of Te Taunuku. She said, you might add, the responsibility that comes with a name like this gives landscape architects is to care for and nurture the places that we all call home. That is inclusive of all people, yet acknowledges the uniqueness and beauty of our cultural landscapes. That it acknowledges the importance of Papatūānuku and all that she provides for us, and that in return, we have a responsibility to give back in the way we design and in the way that we relate to her and to one another. So I thought that was well worth adding in. So, nō reira koutou katoa, ka nui te mihi ki a koutou. E ho mahi, ka nui te mihi. Nō reira tēnā koutou, a kia ora koutou katoa. Ka huri.